Hello and welcome to what will become Sandale Model Railway. I'm the Novice Railway Modeller. Now if you've seen my first 3 videos, you will know that I'm building my first layout, starting with the fiddle yards. Coming up here in video 4, you'll see me struggle and learn how to solder and wire my Peco turnouts. It's a lot milder in the loft today, thankfully. It's been very cold for the last few days, and today I'm going to finalise the point plan that I've been going through on videos 3, 2 and 1, and also begin the DCC wiring. Now, just a reminder of how these points are planned to work. There's a single track entry into this point network that will go into the south side, the right hand side of the south side fiddle yard. Locomotives, trains will come up here, so they will reach the first left-hand curve point, which is here, and at the end of this I've put a 25mm spacer, which has allowed these 2 points to be further apart, and by being further apart it will allow the point motors and for the sleepers to go together without being hindered. So I'm pleased with those tips that I got from the YouTube community. So they go from 1 track into 2, and then we've got another left-hand point which will go into the lower 2 roads, which will be road 1 and road 2, and then it comes, the top line comes further round again with a 25mm spacing. So again, it separates those 2 points and allows them both to operate neatly without catching on each other. And road 6 and road 5 will go off at the top, and then road 3 and road 4 in the middle with some curved track. All the track is code 75 Peco. These are wooden sleepers. Doesn't really matter at this point in time because these are going to be hidden in the fiddle yard, but I may decide to use different types of sleepers for the main track. Okay, so here's the entrance to the fiddle yard that you can see, and I've just placed some track loosely down with a carriage to show you the entrance. So that will be either a tunnel or a bridge entrance into the fiddle yard, and the fiddle yard will come off the main line around here, and the main line will obviously go around to the left. So that gives you a good impression of what that looks like. Now here we are in the cavity, and as you can just see the front end of that carriage poking through the entrance that I showed you earlier, and the point system coming round into the 6 roads. Soldering points is not an easy thing when you're a novice railway modeller like myself. And the ones I did last year, this is an old turnout Hornby, and as you can see here, the damage I did around the bottom of the sleeper, soldering for the first time, was very difficult, but I got better at it as I did further ones. But this just shows the dangers of using soldering irons on points, so you're going to have to be careful about that. Now the tasks in preparing this point is I'm going to snip these 2 cables here, if you can just pick them up, because I'm going to power the frog through this as it's an electro frog. So I'm going to snip those, although there isn't much space to be able to get your snips in there, so that's going to be a challenge. I'm going to take the spring off this part here. I've seen that done a number of times, and I can just see the spring inside. Again, going to have to be delicate there. And then I'm going to wire here, so prepare the joints for wiring across the rails, and also wire the frog. So those are my tasks. Now, as it's sat in a little cavity, it's quite difficult to get this wire out with the snippers, so I'm just going to see if I can get a little screwdriver underneath it first. The answer to that is I don't think so. Oh, I can. There we go. So I'll then snip that off. So that one's clean. And then this one. See if you can pick that up on the camera. Just dig in, lift it up. There we go. Let's come up there. Snip that off. Good. So that was a little easier than I first thought. The next thing is to dig out the spring. That makes the turnout move from one to the other firmly, and you can hear it click when you do it. So we don't want that noise as we've got slow motor turnout, so I'm going to see if I can pick the spring out. Excuse my fingers if they're in the way. Try again. There we go. See that? So there, it's much easier now. So this frog wire is obviously too long than I need, so I'm going to cut at least half of it off. Put that to one side, because I may do is to join those two parts together there, or I may wire those together. I've got choices. I've seen it done both ways, so we'll have a look at that, but you can see that's much shorter now. Next job is then to file the points so that when I solder it will adhere. The soldering iron is warming up. And you can see the gap that I have there compared to what I had there is much bigger, so that should make it slightly easier for soldering these together. So just warming the rail. Ever so slightly. Tinning. Bit of 60-40 solder. Keep tinning the solder end. Watch the fumes. Should wear a mask. So you can see that I've tinned those rails there. I've decided I'm going to solder the dropper wires across both rails like so. It fits, and it does. We don't want it going across and touching the red wire coming from the other side, otherwise that will create a short. So I'm quite happy with that so far. I'll prepare the red wire whilst I'm here. Perfect. So I'm going to solder, I'm going to tin the wire ends. Okay, so I've got my helping hand out and I'm going to just tin these wires gently. Not the cleanest, but remember I'm a novice railway modeller, so I'm doing these all for the first time. This is a really handy tool for doing things like that, and that's probably why it's called a handy helper. So my method of wiring, as seen other people do it, is back to the back, to the front where you can see, but to my back, and then the red to the front. So I'm going to wire them that way around, which will mean black here. So I'll do the one on the inside first. I don't find this easy because the wires keep moving. That took, that's right, yeah. Right, taking that off because, as you can see, I've got some split wires and I don't know how I've done that, but I will try again. So I'm going to recut this wire. So I cut it on number 1 hole, when I think before I cut it on 0.75. This is a struggle for me. There. No, not the cleanest, as you can see, at the join. Okay, maybe the most difficult one for me then. So I'm using green frog wire, and so again I will strip the end off. I will sort of tighten the individual wires. I will tin the wire, heat the wire, and solder. some solder so I can tin the wire from the frog. Not so easy to do at all, this one. So I'm not sure if you saw that, but the way I had to do it was to wrap my wire around the frog wire. This wire coming from the frog, I had to wrap it around and then solder it. You can see there's a bulb of solder there. It is strong. So as you can see, soldering is not for the faint-hearted. There we go. Great, so we're going to start on the second point now. Let's hope I can do that better. I'm not going to show you every one, but I might just show you some highlights of some ones that I do in a better way. So let's give that a go. I've got my points, I've got my black wire, I've got my red wire, I've got my frog wire, I've got my tools, so I've got everything I need. So I'll just crack on. Taken now. So that was easier. So point number 2 done. That was a lot quicker than the first time round. So that was the last point that I've now prepared. I really enjoyed actually the last 4. The first one was a bit challenging, but you go back and what you remember and you get into the swing of doing things in a certain way, and I was really pleased about how that came together. Some of the soldering sometimes is not as good as would hope. This green frog wire is the most difficult, but I've been quite pleased with joining the red and the black rails and the way I've done that, and that's worked. And I haven't melted one sleeper, you'll be pleased to know, from my experience last time round last year. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. It's now time to put these in position. Now I have to confess that was a real struggle, particularly on the first one. However, on the second, third, fourth and fifth, I feel as though I did get better and faster, and it's all about repetition and process, I think. So in the end, I feel as though I did quite well. However, I do need to confess that I made a mistake. And in my eagerness to start to wire the points and get this video out for you, I used the wrong coloured wires. My coding system planned for the points is to use blue and yellow wires that would go to the frog, and I used red and black. So you can see why I'm still a novice railway modeller, because I make some basic mistakes such as that. Anyway, we live and learn. So that's the video for now. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did like the video, then please do give it a like. It will really help my channel grow. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so, because that will also help too. So that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Next week I'm going to be fixing the cobalt motors, so look out for that.